Let me tell you about the time I was asked not to join a mom's play group. I was craving this ever since the garden challenge, so I did sloppy joes, crinkle french fries in the air fryer, and then I do have a salad with some fresh tomato, no cucumbers because they're bitter, and I did do the trick. I don't know why it didn't work. So we had like a really bad winter here in Pittsburgh, and my son was 3. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was feeling like I was going stir crazy. I'm like, I need some mom friends, and he needs some kid friends. And so my husband suggested finding a mom's group, like local in the area. So he asked some people at work, because he worked at a school, and they said, go on Facebook and check some local places. He wanted to check them out because he wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna like end up in a weird, cult or crowd. So we found this one called Moms That Play, and it was right in our area. And they have like all these checks they have to do because they want to make sure that, they don't get crazy people either. So they meet you and then you have to like get in. But they say the only reason they're doing that is just to make sure they don't get anybody crazy. It's not like you're not gonna qualify to be part of this mom's group. So they decide they're going to meet the new moms at Chick-fil-A. So I decide to go, and then they want the kids to play too to see if the kids get along. We all have lunch, everything's going good, and then we go into the play area at Chick-fil-A.
That's when all hell broke loose.
My son is 3 and he has a big imagination, and he is obsessed with Bob the Builder. So every time we would go to Chick-fil-A play area, he would pretend that he was Bob the Builder and he was like building the slides. So he was going around doing that, and they're like, what is he doing? Like, because basically, why isn't he on the slide and why isn't he doing things? And I explain, he's in the Bob the Builder and he's just pretending like he's building this. Then a mom says to my son, like, oh, are you a builder? And he's like, I'm a builder like my daddy. And I was like, honey, daddy doesn't build anything. At this time, he was not building anything. And he said, not that daddy. I said, daddy's into computers. He said, not that daddy, other daddy, the daddy that builds stuff all day. So the other mother asked me, she's like, oh, do you co-parent? Do you have, does he have a baby daddy? And I'm like, no. I was like, it's just me and my husband. I'm pregnant with our second, and that's it. So he just goes on and on. He's like, mommy, the other daddy, the daddy that you meet in the car every night. And I'm like, Levi, I don't meet anybody in the car. And they're just looking at me like, like it was very uncomfortable. And he just would not stop. Again, huge imagination.
I don't think anybody believes you.
I know. Even I didn't believe me.
Because I'm like...
I can't remember every little detail, but it was embarrassing. And he just kept going on and on about this other daddy. And I'm like, there is no other daddy. It's fine, And then he ended up playing with the kids. So I thought everything was okay. So I come home and I tell my husband what happens, and he tries to get it out of Levi, like, what were you talking about? And he really wouldn't. I mean, he's 3 years old, so he wouldn't really say who I was meeting in the car, who this daddy was that builds stuff.
That's because you gave him candy not to say anything, right?
So I tell my husband, I felt like I was a little bit judged. I mean, it wasn't religious, play group, but I said, what if I did have a different baby daddy? What if I was in a co-parent situation or anything? I said, I really don't, they're going to okay me and I'm just not going to join. I was thinking, I'll show them. And this is when I hate it, when you're like, I'm going to turn them down. Don't you know, I get an email that night. I'm so sorry, Tara, but you're just not a good fit, you and your son, for our play group. I'm like, no, I don't want to join your play group, okay? So, yeah, I was not asked to join. Wah, wah. I did find a friend, though, and we ended up hanging out, and it had nothing to do with the mom's play group, so it all worked out.
Was the friend the guy that you kept seeing every night?
Yeah.
You're talking about?
Mm-hmm.